Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. For me, the intersection of life and death is always a lot closer than we ever want to admit. And this was brought home in a very profound way on the second day of my daughter's life. Midnight the day before, my Beth, my darling and colossally pregnant wife, said, "It's time." So we were planned, we had it all set up, we'd been to the classes, I was ready to go. Got the bags in the car, headed down. This was 25 years ago, Penrose Community Hospital. So we trundle down Academy, go down, get settled in. One of the first things they do is they hook up the fetal heart monitor. And there's this deep, 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 deep. I know that sound. I heard that in the OB's office just a couple weeks ago. That's my baby, our baby coming, and she's healthy, and she's happy. We're ready, honey, we're ready. Oh, yes. This was great. And so we're sitting there, and I'm the good husband. I'm sitting up there, stroking her hair and holding her hand, and we're chatting, and teep, 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 teep. Oh, it's a contraction. Yes, and my darling, sweet Sunday school teacher, never say a bad word wife, cuts loose with a blast of profanity, the like of which I had not heard since I was a rookie sea deckhand in the middle of the Pacific. Now, for those of you not familiar with maritime culture, the rookie deckhand is the absolute lowest form of life on a ship. Okay, my failings as a member of the crew, as a member of the male gender, as a member of the human race, were discussed daily in the most anatomically correct vulgarities, the most theologically strained profanities, and language that I don't think I'd ever heard, and I thought I'd had a pretty good upbringing. It was amazing. Now, after a couple days, I realized that, no, I wasn't me they were doing. They were just basically a bunch of artists showing off to each other and practicing their craft. And indeed, if cursing is an art form, then my bosun, that's the boss of the deck, was the Michelangelo of the fleet. Now, it's one thing when you are getting hit with this language from a bunch of obese, tattooed, sunburned, fat sailors out in the middle of the ocean. It's quite another when the woman who not that long ago promised to love, cherish, and honor you hits you right between the eyes with it. Oh my gosh, wow. And first of all, I was stunned. Wow, no, something's really wrong here. Then I was shocked. What's going on? And then I was scared. Oh, she's really hurting. Oh, this is terrible. And I grabbed the OB nurse, and I say, ma'am, she's really hurting. We got to do something. The nurse looks at me, says, pats me on the arm, says, "Your first time, sir, isn't it?" "Yes, first time." Okay. All right, so anyway, it starts going through this, and I'm sitting there holding her hand, and, it'd be this teep, 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 teep. And I got to the point after the third or fourth time, I knew, A, about how much profanity I would get hit with, and B, how much I would lose in my hand, because she was, well, you got a grip, lady, you got a grip. So this goes on for a couple of hours. Finally, I know it was after dawn because there was sunlight in the room. Deep, 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 deep. And my wife cuts through with a blast of profanity that would have made the bosun blush. And Helen Christine arrived in the world. Oh, OB hands the bundle up to the nurse. The nurse does the tests and the quick cleanup, and then wraps it up and says, "Mr. Heinrich, would you like to take your daughter over to her mother?" I get my hand back, I go over, and she hands me this thing, this beautiful, most beautiful baby in the world, and her eyes are closed, and she's got her thumb in her mouth, and she snuggles up to me, and I am smitten. Very few times in my life will I ever experience such unalloyed joy, relief, happiness. Oh, she was so beautiful, and I'm holding her, and I'm just so lost in the moment, and I realized my arm is getting beaten on by the nurse. "Sir, her mother, now!" Okay. Gentlemen, in case you're not aware, in the maternity ward, "sir" is nurse talk for "hey, stupid." So, it's the next day. Penrose, and I hope they still have this marvelous policy in the nursery, where new dads can gown up And they had this, what looked like a storeroom off to the side with a rocking chair in it. You got up, you got your little girl, or your baby, and you could sit in there. So, Helen had just been fed, Mom was resting comfortably, and I get my baby here, and I got this rocking chair set up, and I'm settling in. It's dark, but I can see out the door right here I can see the bassinets, and I can hear the little newborns mewling and fussing, and I can see the angel nurses fluttering around, cooing, caring, caressing. And I'm sitting back, and it occurs to me, if there is really a heaven in the next life, it's going to feel something like this. And I'm settling in there, and my eyes adjust to the dark, and there's a TV up there. Hey, honey, when you wake up, we'll check out the sports channel, all right? Sounds good, sounds good. So, as what happens usually with men when they're in bliss, they start to get a little drowsy. And I had been up late the day before, so anyway, I probably wasn't totally there. When again, there's pounding on the shoulder, and a voice with minimal volume, but maximal authority. Sir, you have to move now. Well, I wake up. I go, what's going on? Okay. And I, as I stand up, I'm blinded. The room is awash with light. And I'm blinking and trying, I'm holding on to my little girl. And finally, my eyes clear. And I make 3 discoveries. The first one is that this is not a storeroom. This is not a closet. This is an operating room. Second, it is being prepared for use in a hurry. Because not that far from me and the other door, between me and the other door, there are 3 nurses and 3 techs doing this choreographed ballet of getting ready. I mean, they were moving stuff and they didn't bump each other. I was just breathtaking to watch. But I figured, I better get out. And the third discovery was, I can't. Somebody put a surgery cart in the door that I just came in. Well, I looked at this in retrospect afterwards. Why didn't I just move the cart? And then I realized at this point in time, it was neurologically impossible for me to take my hands off my daughter. That was not going to happen, people. This was mine right here, total protect mode. All right, so I got to do something. I can't stay here. Oh, wait a minute, underneath the TV. There's room under there. And this is, of course, pre-flat screen TV. This was like, as deep as it was wide. So I go, okay, honey, we'll just go on here. We'll just stay out of the way. Everything's fine. So we get settled in. Okay, we're out of the way, And nobody's paying any attention to us, which is fine. And about that time, one of the OBs that we'd worked with comes storming into the room with somebody else's most beautiful little baby in his hands. And he's shouting, "Blue baby!" And he disappears behind this wall of nurses. And a few moments later, I make the 4th discovery. The 4th discovery is that there's no sports channel on that TV. That is the heart monitor. It is hooked up. The volume is loud. And it's going, teep, teep, teep. I've heard that sound before. Those of us that grew up watching 2001: A Space Odyssey far too many times, and probably in far too many states of non-sobriety, that was the sound of the EKGs when the computer was killing the humans. And there it was, right there. Oh, hell. The doctor is cursing and shouting. Okay, the nurses are vibrating close together. It's going teep, teep. It's getting slower and slower. No, not here. This isn't supposed to happen. Okay, he's really shouting now. He's like the bosun. He's invoking deities I never heard of. The nurses are clenched. And my field of vision widens a little bit, and I realize that the 3 techs are in position. They're not techs anymore. They're samurai with their weapons. They are stock still. They are ready. The one nearest me has what is obviously a saw that looked damn big enough to cut a baby human in half. Okay. They don't look that much different from the skill saw or the hand saw, power saw you have in your garage, guys. The second one had what was obviously a pump, and it was bigger than the kid. I knew that. It was huge. And the third one, I couldn't tell what it was, but it looked like it came out of some chamber of horrors. And they're standing there. They are ready. Teep, teep, slower and slower. Okay, this is serious now. The doctor is not shouting. The nurses, they're not a wall, they're a fist. They are around there so tight. And I know, you can just tell they're vibrating with energy. They're trying to get something done. Okay, this isn't good. The samurai haven't really moved, but you can tell they've changed. This is go time, people. We are going to cut that kid open and save its life, hopefully. Damn, I could not hear I'm near the door, but I can't hear the little babies fussing anymore. And I'm absolutely positive the angel nurses aren't fluttering right now. They're probably watching. It is as if the whole world is listening to that God-accursed monitor. Slower, deep, deep, weaker, deep. Oh, God, no. Oh, God, this isn't supposed to happen. Deep. This isn't in the plan. They didn't give me any training for this. No. Deep, deep. It's like I could barely hear it. And I'm starting to shake. And then I hear this deep, 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 deep. Oh, God. The tension flows out of the room like a bad smell on a windy day. All of a sudden, the doctor is now laughing, cajoling with his patient. The nurses are human beings again. They're starting to put things away. The samurai, they're not stone figures anymore. They're young men and women, and they're closing up their stuff. They're getting it together, getting their things put away. I can hear the babies mewling and fussing now, and I can just imagine the angel nurses are fluttering about. And I start to hear what is the most beautiful sound in a situation like that. The little baby on the table is starting to suck in the air and getting ready to let loose with a howl to let the world know he or she is there. God, that was pretty. And I'm listening to that, and then I realize another baby's starting to cry, and it's the one in my arms. And she's waking up because her daddy's tears are just flowing down right onto her face, and it's destroying her nap mat. She is not happy either. So I hope my daughter never really wondered why, or any of our other kids wondered why their dad was always a little bit extra happy to see them when they were around, and just really was glad when they were there. And it's probably a lot of reasons, but one of which is on that day, at that time, I learned that things don't always go according to plan. Thank you very much.